Hello and welcome back to my page. This video is going to do a comparison between Walthers BART Trains and Rapido BART Trains. The Walthers BART Train, I believe, went on sale around 1982, and then the Rapido BART Train went on sale in 2022. So that's a 40-year difference between the two. You can also see the details between them as for what they look like then compared to what they look like now. When you look at the interior, you can see that it is fully lit in the Rapido train, where the Walthers train is not lit. You can also see the interior, which has seats, and you can add people on the inside. You can also add a operator in the Rapido train, where you cannot do that on the Walthers BART train. So here's a close-up so you can see what I'm talking about. So here's the cab view. There's no operator on the Walthers train, but there is an operator that I did install on the Rapido. You can also see the difference on the pickup shoe from the Rapido train. So here it has the shoe and the red covering on the outside, where with Walthers it's pretty much black plastic, gives somewhat of a simulation, okay? Looking at the size in comparison of the two, the Walthers train is much larger than the Rapido train. There's also detail on top that's not added with Walthers from the difference. So these BART trains have come a long way in creation, okay? Another thing I'd like for you to see is the wheel settings between both cars, from the BART on the Rapido and the Walthers. I'm just gonna pull the Rapido train up just a little bit so you can take a look at it. So we can see the wheel settings here. So there's actually a shell covering, like the real thing, where you can barely see the wheels. Compared to Walthers, the Walthers you can see all of the wheel settings as well as the pickup shoe. So there's a big difference in that. There's also a height difference between the Walthers and the Rapido. As you can see, the Rapido is actually more lower to the track, just as the real thing, compared to Walthers, where it's a little bit elevated. Okay? The other thing I'd like for you to notice is the diaphragms between both cars. Okay, now here's the diaphragm difference between the two. There is more space between the Walthers, and this is because I had to personally add a different set of couplers to make this more realistic as possible. These are the KD coupler 5s, and the couplers that are attached to the Rapido are a little different. I think they're more of a European style. Let's see if I can zoom in so you can see that. Okay, there's the coupler there for the Rapido. Rapido also has the passenger protection panels, I guess if you want to call them that, where the people, when they're on the platform, they won't walk in between the car here. This was not an added option when Walthers created theirs. Okay, so let's take a quick look at that. And there's Walthers. Also, the difference, what you'll notice, is the side marker light between both trains, letting you know if the doors are open. There's supposed to be a side light here. This is not added on Walthers, where it is added on Rapido. Here's the Rapido. These are the side lights I was mentioning. Now in this part here, you can see the full interior of the Rapido BART train. You can see all the seating, the people that I've added to give it more realism, as well as the interior lighting. Now the light is not flickering. This is just an old camera that I'm using that's falsely giving the illusion that the lights are flickering. They do not flicker. Now when we go to the Walthers, there's no interior lighting, no seating, and it's because at that time most of the interior was all of the motor. You can kind of see a lot of the wiring and the weights inside of the Walthers car. Okay? The decal for the road numbers, that's another difference. So these were pretty much pasted on. You had to use water and add the decal and wait for the decal to sit and set in place before you can actually continue on with the next portion. With Rapido, they're already engraved into the car itself. The only thing that had to be glued on was the road number. Okay, so this is like a, I believe it's like a metal or maybe an aluminum, which made it much easier. It was pretty much just cut the piece on and then just paste it in place. Okay, so that's another big difference between the two. The next thing to understand is Rapido BART trains, they came already ready to run and you didn't have to assemble anything. Rapido pretty much take it off the box and put it on the track. Where Walthers, it came in as a kit and you had to install it from beginning to end. So the only thing that you didn't have to worry about putting together was the actual motor set on the A car. This here, it was already put together. You just had to add the bottom trucks, and of course the shell, you had to glue all the windows in. You had to add all the decals on the car itself, as well as all of the handrail trimmings. That's another difference between Walthers and Rapido. Here's a rear shot of the comparison between the two. On the left is Rapido, so you can see how the doors look, as well as the coupler, the diaphragm, the interior lighting, as well as the marker lights behind each car. The one on the right is Walthers, and this is how it looked between the two. The next thing I want to show you is the length. So with the Rapido car, the measurement is about 10 1/4. Now if we move closer to the Walthers car, it measures at about 10 1/2. Now here in this portion of the video is the difference in the cab, showing the side operator window. Also the detail with the windshield wiper that is added to the Rapido car that's not on the BART car, the A car. You can also see the difference in the bumper on the A car between the Walthers, which is right here. The first car, 111 or 176, however you like to look at it, is a little smaller, and it doesn't have the, looks like a compression or compressor under the cab, where the Rapido car does have that. So Rapido did go through great lengths in adding much more detail. Now I'd like to show you the underbelly of both cars of the A series. So you can see the extreme detail that was done from Rapido compared to Walthers. And again, we must remember this is a 40-year difference in technology. Now it's time to do a comparison between the two trains from Walthers on the left and then Rapido on the right. We're now going to start these trains. You can notice the sound difference between the two already. Go faster. You guys go faster. Go faster. Alright, pretty much a good speed match almost. Now you can see the Walthers train is a little bit louder. The Rapido train is much quieter and has the authentic winding sound as the original train in real life. They're both 8-car trains. The louder one you hear is the Walthers train. These are 8-car trains. In conclusion, I want to say that modeling the model BART train has come a long way, 40 years at that. From Walthers to Rapido. Only time will tell what it will look like in the next 40 years. Until then, enjoy model railroading. See you on the next video. Thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, please be sure to subscribe to my page.